We are amazed. And thus long have we stood to watch the fearful bending of thy knee, because we thought ourself thy lawful king. And if we be, how dare thy joints forget to pay their awful duty to our presence? If we be not, show us the hand of God that hath dismissed us from our stewardship. For well we know no hand of blood and bone can gripe the sacred handle of our scepter, unless he do profane, steal, or usurp. And though you think that all, as you have done, have torn your souls by turning them from us, and we are barren and bereft of friends, yet no, my master, God omnipotent, is mustering in his clouds on our behalf armies of pestilence, and they shall strike your children yet unborn and unbegot, that lift your vassal hands against my head and threat the glory of my precious crown. Tell Bolingbroke, for yon methinks he stands, that every stride he makes upon my land is dangerous treason. He is come to ope the purple testament of bleeding war. But ere the crown he looks for live in peace, 10,000 bloody crowns of mother's son shall ill become the flower of England's face, change the complexion of her maid pale peace to scarlet indignation, and bedew her pastor's grass with faithful English blood.
The King of Heaven forbid our Lord the King should so with civil and uncivil arms be rushed upon. Thy thrice noble cousin, Harry Bolingbroke, doth humbly kiss thy hand. And by the honorable tomb he swears that stands upon your royal grandsire's bones, and by the royalties of both your bloods, and by the buried hand of warlike Gaunt, and by the worth and honor of himself, comprising all that may be sworn or said, his coming hither hath no further scope than for his lineal royalties, and to beg enfranchisement immediate on his knee, which on thy royal party granted once, his glittering arms he will commend to rust, his barbed steeds to stables, and his heart to faithful service of your majesty. This swears he, as he is a prince, is just, and as I am a gentleman, I credit him.
Northumberland, say thus: the king returns. His noble cousin is right welcome hither, and all the number of his fair demands shall be accomplished without contradiction. With all the gracious utterance thou hast, speak to his gentle hearing kind commands. We do debase ourselves, cousin, do we not, to look so poorly and to speak so fair? Shall we call back Northumberland and send defiance to the traitor and so die?
No, good my lord. Let's fight with gentle words. To time lend friends, and friends are helpful swords.
Oh God, that ere this tongue of mine that laid the sentence of dread banishment on yon proud man should take it off again with words of sooth. Oh, that I were as great as is my grief, or lesser than my name, or that I could forget what I have been, or not remember what I must be now. Swell'st thou, proud heart, I give thee scope to beat, since foes have scope to beat both thee and me.
Northumberland goes back from Bolingbroke.
What must the king do now? Must he submit? The king shall do it. Must he be deposed? The king shall be contented. Must he lose the name of king? A God's name, let it go. I'll give my jewels for a set of beads, my gorgeous palace for a hermitage, my gay apparel for an almsman's gown, my figured goblets for a dish of wood, my scepter for a palmer's walking staff, my subjects for a pair of carved saints, and my large kingdom for a little grave, a little grave, an obscure grave. Or I'll be buried in the king's highway, some way of common trade where subjects' feet may hourly trample on their sovereign's head, for on my heart they tread now whilst I live. And buried once, why not upon my head? O Merle, Thou weeps, my tender-hearted cousin. We'll make foul weather with our despised tears. Or shall we play the wantons with our woes and make some pretty match with shedding tears as thus? To drop them still in one place, till they have fretted us a pair of graves within the earth, and therein laid. There lies two kinsmen dig their graves with weeping eyes. Would not this ill do well? Well, I see I talk but idly, and you laugh at me. Most mighty prince, my lord Northumberland, what says King Bolingbroke? Will his majesty give Richard leave to live till Richard die? You make a leg, and Bolingbroke says I.
My lord, in the base court he doth attend to speak with you. May it please you to come down.
Down I come, like glistering phaeton wanting the marriage of unruly jades. In the base court where kings grow base to come at traitors' call and do them grace. In the base court, come down. Down, court. Down, king! For night owls shriek where mounting larks should sing.
What says His Majesty?
Sorrow and grief of heart makes him speak fondly like a frantic man, yet is he come.
Stand all apart and show fair duty to His Majesty. My gracious lord.
Fair cousin, you debase your princely knee to make the base earth proud with kissing it. Me rather had my heart might feel your love, than my unpleased eye see your courtesy. Up, cousin, up. Your heart is up. I know, thus high at least, although your knee be low.
My gracious lord, I come but for mine own.
Your own is yours, and I am yours, and all.
So far be mine, my most redoubted lord, as my true service shall deserve your love.
Well you deserve. They well deserve to have that know the strongest and surest way to get. Uncle, give me your hand. Dry your eyes. Tears show their love, but want their remedies. Cousin, I am too young to be your father, though you are old enough to be my heir. What you'll have, I'll give, and willing too. For do we must what force will have us do. Set on towards London. Cousin, is it so?
Yea, my good lord.
Then I must not say no.
Sport shall we devise here in this garden to drive away the heavy thought of care?
Madam, we'll play at bowls.
'Twill make me think the world is full of rubes and that my fortune runs against the bias.
Madam, we'll dance.
My legs can keep no measure in delight when my poor heart no measure keeps in grief. Therefore, no dancing, girl. Oh, some other sport.
Madam, we'll tell tales.
Of sorrow or joy?
Of either, madam.
Of neither, girl. For if of joy being altogether wanting, it doth remember me the more of sorrow. Or if of grief being altogether had, it adds more sorrow to my want of joy. For what I have, I need not to repeat. And what I want, it boots not to complain.
Madam, I'll sing.
'Tis well that thou hast cause, but thou shouldst please me better wouldst thou weep.
I could weep, madam. Would it do you good?
And I could sing, would weeping do me good, and never borrow any tear of thee. But stay, here come the gardeners. Let's step into the shadow of these trees. My wretchedness unto a row of pins they will talk of state, for everyone doth so against a change. Woe is forerun with woe.
Go, bind thou up yon dangling apricots, which like unruly children make their sire stoop with oppression of their prodigal weight. Give some supportance to the bending twigs. Go thou, and like an executioner, cut off the heads of two fast-growing sprays that look too lofty in our commonwealth. All must be even in our government. You thus employed, I will go root away the noisome weeds which without profit suck the soil's fertility from wholesome flowers.
Why should we, in the compass of a tale, keep law and form and due proportion, showing, as in a model, our firm estate, when our sea-walled garden, the whole land is full of weeds, her fairest flowers choked up, her fruit trees all unpruned, her hedges ruined, her knots disordered, and her wholesome herbs swarming with caterpillars, the deep...
Hold thy peace. He that hath suffered this disordered spring hath now himself met with the fall of leaf. The weeds, which his broad spreading leaves did shelter, it seemed in eating him to hold him up, are plucked up root and all by Bolingbroke. I mean the Earl of Wiltshire, Bushy, Green.
What, are they dead?
They are.
Oh.
And Bolingbroke hath seized the wasteful king. Oh, what pity is it that he had not so trimmed and dressed his land as we this garden. We, at time of year, do wound the bark, the skin of our fruit trees, lest being over-proud in sap and blood with too much riches, it confound itself. Had he done so to great and growing men, they might have lived to bear, and he to taste their fruits of duty. Superfluous branches we lop away, that bearing boughs may live. Had he done so, himself had borne the crown, which waste of idle hours hath quite thrown down.
What think you, the king shall be deposed?
Depressed he is already, and deposed 'tis doubt he will be. Letters came last night to a dear friend of the good Duke of York's that tell black tidings.
I am pressed to death through want of speaking. Thou, old Adam's likeness, set to dress this garden, how dares thy harsh rude tongue sound this unpleasing news? What Eve, what serpent has suggested thee to make a second fall of cursed man? Why dost thou say King Richard is deposed? Darest thou, thou little better thing than earth, divine his downfall? Say where, when, and how camest thou by this ill tidings? Speak, thou wretch.
Pardon me, madam. Little joy have I to breathe this news, yet what I say is true. King Richard, he is in the mighty hold of Bolingbroke. Their fortunes both are weighed. In your lord's scale is nothing but himself and some few vanities that make him light. But in the balance of great Bolingbroke, besides himself, are all the English peers, and with that odds he weighs King Richard down. Post you to London, and you will find it so. I speak no more than every one doth know.
nimble mischance, that art so light of foot, doth not thy embassage belong to me? And am I the last that knows it? Oh, thou thinkest to serve me last, that I may longest keep thy sorrow in my breast. Come, lady, go to meet at London, London's king in woe. What? Was I born to this, that my sad look should grace the triumph of great Bolingbroke? Gardner, foretelling me this news of woe, pray God, the plants thou graft'st may never grow.
Poor queen, so that thy state might be no worse, I would my skill were subject to thy curse. Here did she fall a tear. Here in this place I'll set a bank of rue, sour herb of grace. Rue even for Ruth here shortly shall be seen, in the remembrance of a weeping queen.
Call forth faggots. Now, Bagot, freely speak thy mind what thou dost know of noble Gloucester's death. Who wrought it with the king, and who performed the bloody office of his untimely end?
Then set before my face the Lord O'Merle.
Cousin, stand forth and look upon that man.
My Lord O'Merle, I know your daring tongue scorns to unsay what once it hath delivered. In that dead time when Gloucester's death was plotted, I heard you say, "Is not my arm of link that reacheth from the restful English court as far as Calais to mine uncle's head?" Amongst much other talk that very time, I heard you say that you had rather refuse the offer of 100,000 crowns than Bolingbroke's return to England. Adding withal how blessed this land would be in this your cousin's death.
Princes and noble lords, what answer shall I make to this base man? Shall I so much dishonor my fair stars on equal terms to give him chastisement? No, no. Either I must, or have my honor soiled with the attainder of his slanderous lips. There is my gage, the manual seal of death that marks the art for hell. I say thou liest!
Bagot, forbear, thou shalt not take it up.
Excepting one, I would he were the best in all this presence to have moved me so.
If that your valor stand on sympathy, there is my gage, O'Merle, engaged to thine. By that fair sun, which shows me where thou standst, I heard thee say, and vauntingly thou spakest it, that thou wert cause of noble Gloucester's death. If thou deniest it 20 times, thou liest, and I will turn thy falsehood to thy heart when it was forged with my rapier's point.
Thou darest not, coward, live to see that day.
Now, by my soul, I would it were this hour.
Oh, Exton, thou art damned to hell for this.
Oh, thou liest. His honor is as true in this appeal as thou art all unjust. And that thou art so. There I throw my gage to prove it on thee to the extremest point of mortal breathing. Seize it, if thou darest.
And if I do not, may my hands rot off and never brandish more revengeful steel over the glittering helmet of my foe.
I test thee earth to the like, forsworn, O'Merle, and spur thee on with full as many lies as may be hollowed in thy treacherous ears from sun to sun. There is my honor's pawn. Engage it to the trial if thou darest.
Who sets me else? By heaven, I throw it all. I have 1,000 spirits in one breast to answer 20,000 such as you.
Sir Pierce of Exton,
I remember well the very time O'Merle and you did talk.
'Tis very true. You were in presence then. And you can witness with me this is true.
As false, by heaven, as heaven itself is true.
Surrey, thou liest!
Dishonorable boy. That lie shall lie so heavy on my sword that it shall render vengeance and revenge, till thou, the lie giver, and that lie do lie in earth as quiet as thy father's skull. In proof whereof there is my honour's pawn. Engage it to the trial if thou darest.
How fondly dost thou spur a forward horse! If I dare eat or drink or breathe or live, I dare meet Surrey in a wilderness and spit upon him, whilst I say he lies and lies and lies. There is my bond of faith to tie thee to my strong correction. As I intend to thrive in this new world, O'Merle is guilty of my true appeal. Besides, I heard the banished Mowbray say that thou, O'Merle, did send 2 of thy men to execute the noble Duke at Calais.
Some honest Christian trust me with a gauge. That Mowbray lies. Here do I throw down this, if he may be repealed to try his honor.
These differences shall all rest under gauge till Mowbray be repealed. Repealed he shall be, and though mine enemy restored again to all his lands and seigneuries. When he is returned, against O'Merle we will enforce his trial.
That honorable day shall ne'er be seen. Many a time hath banished Mowbray fought for Jesu Christ in glorious Christian fields, streaming the ensign of the Christian cross against black pagan, Turk, and Saracen, and toiled with works of war, retired himself to Italy, and there at Venice gave his body unto that pleasant country's earth, and his pure soul unto his captain Christ, under whose colors he fought so long.
Why, Bishop, is Mowbray dead?
As surely as I live, my lord.
Sweet peace conduct his sweet soul to the bosom of good old Abraham. Lords, appellants, your differences shall all rest under gauge till we assign you to your days of trial.
Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from plume-plucked Richard, who with willing soul adopts the heir, and his high scepter yields to the possession of thy royal hand. Ascend his throne, descending now from him, and long live Henry, 4th of that name.
In God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne.
Mary! God forbid! Worst in this royal presence, may I speak? Yet best beseeming me to speak the truth. Would God that any in this noble presence were enough noble to be upright judge of noble Richard, that true noblesse would learn him forbearance from so foul a wrong. What subject can give sentence on his king, and who sits here who is not Richard's subject? Thieves are not judged, but they are by to hear. And shall the figure of God's majesty, anointed, crowned, planted these many years, be judged by subject and inferior breath, and he himself not present? Oh, offended God, that in a Christian climate, souls refined should show so heinous, black, obscene a deed. I speak to subjects, and a subject speaks, stirred up by God, thus boldly for his king. My lord of Hereford, here, whom you call king, is a foul traitor to proud Hereford's king. And blood of English shall manure the earth, and future ages groan for this foul act. Peace shall go sleep with Turks and infidels, and in the seat of peace tumultuous wars shall kin with kin and kind with kind confound. Disorder, horror, fear, and mutiny shall here inhabit, and this land be called the field of Golgotha and dead men's skulls. Oh, if you raise this house against this house, it will the woefulest division prove that ever fell upon this cursed earth. Prevent it, resist it, let it not be so, lest child's children cry against you all.
Well have you argued, sir. And for your pains of capital treason, we arrest you here. My Lord of Westminster, be it your charge to keep him safely till his day of trial. May it please you, lords, to grant the common suit.
Fetch hither Richard, that in common view he may surrender. So we shall proceed without suspicion.
I will be his conduct.
Lords, you that here are under our arrest, procure your sureties for your days of answer. Little are we beholding to your love, and little looked for at your helping hands.
Alack, why am I sent for to a king before I have shook off the regal thoughts wherewith I reigned? I hardly yet have learned to insinuate, flatter, bow, and bend my limbs. Give sorrow leave a while to tutor me to this submission. Yet I well remember the favors of these men. Were they not mine? Did they not sometimes cry, "All hail," to me? So Judas did to Christ, but he in 12 found truth in all but one. I in 12,000, none. God save the king. Will no man say amen? Am I both priest and clerk? Well then, amen. God save the king, although I be not he. And yet, amen, if heaven do think him me. To do what service am I sent for hither?
To do that office of thine own good will, which tired majesty did make thee offer, the resignation of thy state and crown to Henry Bolingbroke.
Give me the crown. Here, cousin. Seize the crown. Here, cousin. On this side my hand, and on that side yours. Now is this golden crown like a deep well that owes two buckets filling one another, the emptier ever dancing in the air, the other down unseen and full of water. That bucket down and full of tears am I, drinking my griefs, whilst you mount up on high.
I thought you had been willing to resign.
My crown I am, but not my griefs. Still am I king of those.
Part of your cares you give me with your crown.
Your cares set up do not pluck my cares down. The cares I give, I have, though given away. They tend the crown, yet still with me they stay.
Are you contented to resign the crown?
I. No! No. I For I must nothing be. Therefore, no, for I resign to thee. Now mark me how I will undo myself. I give this heavy weight from off my head, and this unwieldy scepter from my hand, the pride of kingly sway from out my heart. With mine own tears I wipe away my balm. With mine own hands I give away my crown. With mine own tongue deny my sacred state. With mine own breath release all duty's rights. All pomp and majesty I do forswear. My manners, rents, revenues I forego. My acts, decrees, and statutes I deny. God pardon all oaths that are broke to me. God keep all vows unbroke that swear to thee. Make me that nothing have, with nothing grieved, and thou with all pleased that hath all achieved. Long mayest thou live, in Richard's seat to sit, and soon lie Richard in an earthy pit. God save King Harry, unkinged Richard says, and send him many years of sunshine days. What more remains?
No more but that you read these accusations and these grievous crimes committed by your person and your followers against the state and profit of this land, that by confessing them the souls of men may deem that you are worthily deposed.
Must I do so? And must I ravel out my weaved up folly? Gentle Northumberland, if thy offenses were upon record, would it not shame thee in so fair a troop to read a lecture of them? If thou wouldst, there shouldst thou find one heinous article containing the deposing of the king and cracking the strong warrant of an oath, marked with a blot and damned in the book of heaven. Nay, all of you that stand and look upon whilst at my wretchedness doth beg myself, though some of you with Pilate wash your hands, showing an outward pity, yet you pilots have here delivered me to my sour cross, and water cannot wash away your sin.
My lord, dispatch, read all these articles.
Mine eyes are full of tears. I cannot see. Yet salt water blinds them not so much, but they can see a sort of traitors here. Nay, if I turn mine eyes upon myself, I find myself a traitor with the rest. For I have given here my soul's consent to undeck the pompous body of a king, made glory base, sovereignty a slave, proud majesty a subject, state a peasant.
My lord!
No, lord of thine! Thou hot, insulting man! No man's lord. I have no name, no title. No, not that name that was given me at the font, but 'tis usurped. Alack the heavy day that I have worn so many winters out, and know not now what name to call myself. Oh, that I were a mockery king of snow, standing before the sun of Bolingbroke to melt myself away in water drops. Good king, great king, and yet not greatly good. And if my word be sterling yet in England, let it command a mirror hither straight, that it may show me what a face I have, since it is bankrupt of his majesty.
Go some of you and fetch a looking glass.
Read all this paper while the glass...
See, thou torment'st me ere I come to hell.
Urge it no more, my lord Northumberland.
The Commons will not then be satisfied.
They shall be satisfied. I'll read enough when I do see the very book indeed, where all my sins are writ. That's myself. Give me the glass. And therein will I read. No deeper wrinkles yet. Hath sorrow struck so many blows on this face of mine, and made no deeper wounds? O flattering glass, like to my followers in prosperity, thou dost beguile me. Was this face the face that every day under his household roof did keep 10,000 men? Was this the face that, like the sun, did make beholders wink? Was this the face that faced so many follies, and was at last outfaced by Bolingbroke? A brittle glory shineth in his face, as brittle as the glory is the face. But there it is, cracked in 100 shivers. Mark, silent king, the moral of my sport. How soon my sorrow hath destroyed my face.
The shadow of your sorrow hath destroyed the shadow of your face.
Say that again. The shadow of my sorrow. Let's see. 'Tis very true. My grief lies all within. And these external manners of lament are merely shadows to the unseen grief that swells with silence in the tortured soul. There lies the substance. And I thank thee, King, for thy great bounty that not only gives me cause to wail, but teaches me the way how to lament the cause. I'll beg one boon and then be gone and trouble you no more. Shall I obtain it?
Name it, fair cousin.
Fair cousin. I am greater than a king. When I was a king, my flatterers were then but subjects. Being now a subject, I have a king here to my flatterer. Being so great, I have no need to beg.
Yet ask.
And shall I have?
You shall.
Then give me leave to go.
Whither?
Whither you will. So I were from your sights.
Go, some of you. Convey him to the tower.
Oh, good. Convey. Conveyors are you all, that rise thus nimbly by a true king's fall.
On Wednesday next, we solemnly set down our coronation. Lords, prepare yourselves.
Woeful pageant have we here beheld. More woes to come. The children yet unborn shall feel this day as sharp to them as thorn. You, holy clergyman, is there no plot to rid the realm of this pernicious blot?
This way the king will come. This is the way to Julius Caesar's ill-erected tower, to whose flint bosom my condemned lord is doomed a prisoner by proud Bolingbroke. Here let us rest, if this rebellious earth have any resting for her true king's queen. Soft. But see, or rather, do not see my fair rose wither. Yet look up. Behold that you in pity may dissolve to dew, and wash them fresh again with true love's tears.
Join not with grief, fair woman, do not so, to make my end too sudden. Learn, good soul, to think our former state a happy dream, from which awake the truth of what we are shows us but this. I am sworn brother sweet to grim necessity, and he and I will keep a league till death.
Hie thee to France. Cloister thee in some religious house. Our holy lives must win a new world's crown, which our profane hours here have thrown down.
What? Is my Richard, both in shape and mind, transformed and weakened? Hath Bolingbroke deposed thine intellect? Hath he been in thy heart? The lion dying thrusteth forth his paw and wounds the earth, if nothing else, with rage to be o'erpowered. And wilt thou, pupil-like, take thy correction mildly? Kiss the rod and fawn on rage with base humility, which art a lion? And the king of beasts.
A king of beasts, indeed. If aught but beasts, I had been still a happy king of men. Good sometimes, queen, prepare thee hence for France. Think I am dead, and that even here thou takest, as from my deathbed, thy last living leave. In winter's tedious night, sit by the fire with good old folks, and let them tell thee tales of woeful ages long ago betid, and ere thou bid good night, to requite their griefs, tell thou the lamentable tale of me, and send the hearers weeping to their beds.
My lord, the mind of Bolingbroke is changed. You must to Pomfret, not unto the Tower. And, madam, there is order ta'en for you. With all swift speed, you must away to France.
Northumberland, thou ladder, wherewithal the mounting Bolingbroke ascends my throne. The time shall not be many hours of age, more than it is, ere foul sin, gathering head, shall break into corruption. Thou shalt think, though he divide the realm and give thee half, it is too little, helping him to all. And he shall think that thou, which know'st the way to plant unrightful kings, wilt know again, being ne'er so little urged another way, to pluck him headlong from the usurped throne.
My guilt be on my head, and there an end. Take leave and part, for you must part forthwith.
Doubly divorced. Bad man, you violate a twofold marriage. Twixt my crown and me, then twixt me and my married wife. Let me unkiss the oath twixt thee and me. And yet not so, for with a kiss 'twas made. Part us, Northumberland.
Must we part?
Aye, hand from hand, my love, and heart from heart.
Banish us both, and send the king with me.
That was some love, but little policy.
Then whither he goes, thither let me go.
So two together weeping make one woe. One kiss shall stop our mouths, and dumbly part. Thus give I mine, thus take I thy heart.
Give me mine own again. 'Twere no good part to take on me to keep and kill thy heart. So now I have mine own again. Begone, that I may strive to kill it with a groan.
We make woe wanton with this fond delay. Once more, adieu. The rest, let sorrow say.
My lord, you told me you would tell the rest, when weeping made you break the story off of our two cousins coming into London.
Well, where did I leave?
At that sad stop, my lord, when rude, misgoverned hands from windows' tops threw dust and rubbish on King Richard's head.
Then, as I said, the Duke, great Bolingbroke, mounted upon a hot and fiery steed, which his aspiring rider seemed to know, with slow but stately pace kept on his course, whilst all tongues cried, God save thee, Bolingbroke. You would have thought the very windows spake. So many greedy looks of young and old through casements darted their desiring eyes upon his visage, whilst all the walls with painted imagery had said at once, Jesu preserve thee, welcome, Bolingbroke. Whilst he, from one side to the other turning, bespake them thus, I thank you, countrymen. And thus still doing, thus he passed along.
Alack, poor Richard. Where rode he the whilst?
As in the theatre, the eyes of men after a well-graced actor leaves the stage are idly bent on him that enters next, thinking his prattle to be tedious. Even so, or with much more contempt, men's eyes did scowl on gentle Richard. No man cried, God save him. No joyful tongue gave him his welcome home. The dust was thrown upon his sacred head, which, with such gentle sorrow, he shook off, that had not God for some strong purpose steel the hearts of men, they must perforce have melted, and barbarism itself have pitied him. But heaven hath a hand in these events, to whose high will we bound our calm contents. To Bolingbroke are we sworn subjects now, whose state and honor I for aye allow.
Here comes my son O'Merle.
O'Merle that was, but that is lost for being Richard's friend. And madam, you must call him Rutland now. I am in Parliament pledged for his truth and lasting fealty to the new-made king.
Welcome, my son. Who are the violets now that strew the green lap of the new-come spring?
Madam, I know not, nor I greatly care not. God knows I had as lief be none as one.
Well, bear you well in this new spring of time, lest you be cropped before you come to prime. What news from Oxford? Do these jousts and triumphs hold?
For aught I know, my lord, they do.
You will be there, I know.
If God prevent not, I purpose so.
What seal is that hangs without thy bosom? Yea, lookest how pale. Let me see the writing.
My lord, 'tis nothing.
Well, no matter then who sees it. I will be satisfied. Let me see the writing.
I beseech your grace to pardon me. It is a matter of small consequence, which for some reasons I would not have seen.
Which for some reasons, sir, I mean to see. I fear.
What should you fear? 'Tis nothing but some bond that he has entered into for gay apparel against the triumph day.
Bound to himself? What doth he with a bond that he is bound to? Wife, thou art a fool. Boy, let me see the writing.
I beseech you, pardon me, I may not show it.
I will be satisfied. Let me see it, I say. It's treason. Foul treason. Villain. Traitor, slave!
What is the matter, my lord?
Oh, who's within? Saddle my horse! God, for his mercy, what treachery is here?
Oh, what is it, my lord?
Bring me my boots, saddle my horse, I will unto the king. Now on my life, by my troth, by my honor, I will impeach the villain.
What is the matter?
Peace, foolish woman!
I will not peace. What is the matter, O'Merle?
Mother, be content. It is nothing more than my poor life must answer.
My life answer?
Bring me my boots, I will unto the king.
Strike him, O'Merle. Poor boy, thou art amazed. Hence, villain, never more come in my sight.
Give me my boots.
Why, York, what wilt thou do? Wilt thou not hide the trespass of thine own? Have we more sons, or are we like to have? Is not my teeming date drunk up with time? And wilt thou pluck my fair son from mine age and rob me of a happy mother's name? Is he not like thee? Is he not thine own?
Fawn, mad woman, wilt thou conceal this dark conspiracy? A dozen of them have ta'en the sacrament and interchangeably set down their hands to kill the king at Oxford.
He shall be none. We'll keep him here, then what is that to him?
Away, fond woman, were he 20 times my son, I would impeach him.
Hadst thou groaned for him as I have done, thou wouldst be more pitiful. But now I know thy mind. Thou dost suspect that I have been disloyal to thy bed, and that he is a bastard, not thy son. Sweet York, sweet husband, be not of that mind. He is as like thee as a man may be, not like to me or any of my kin, and yet I love him.
Make way, unruly woman.
After our Merle, mount thee upon his horse, spur post, and get before him to the king. And beg thy pardon ere he do accuse thee. I'll not be long behind. Though I be old, I doubt not but to ride as fast as York. And never will I rise up from the ground till Bolingbroke have pardoned thee. Away! Begone!
Can no man tell me of my unthrifty son? 'Tis full 3 months since I did see him last. If any plague hang over us, 'tis he. I would to God, my lords, he might be found. Inquire at London amongst the taverns there. For there they say he daily doth frequent with unrestrained loose companions. Even such, they say, as stand in narrow lanes and beat our watch and rob our passengers, which he, young wanton and lascivious boy, takes on a point of honor to support, so dissolute a crew.
My lord, some 2 days since I saw the prince and told him of those triumphs held at Oxford.
And what said the gallant?
His answer was, he would unto the stews, and from the commonest creature pluck a glove and wear it as a favor. And with that he would unhorse the lustiest challenger.
As dissolute as desperate. Yet through both I see some sparks of better hope, which future years may happily bring forth.
All studies here I solemnly defy, save how to gall and pinch that sword and buckler Prince of Wales. But out upon this half-faced fellowship.
Where is the king? Where is the king? Where is the king?
Who comes here?
Where is the king?
What means our cousin that he stares and looks so wild?
God save your grace. I do beseech your majesty to have some conference with your grace alone.
Withdraw yourselves and leave us here alone. What is the matter with our cousin now?
Forever may my knees grow to the earth, my tongue cleave to my roof within my mouth, unless a pardon ere I rise or speak.
Intended or committed was this fault? If on the first, how heinous ere it be, to win thy after love, I pardon thee.
Then give me leave that I may turn the key, that no man may enter till my tale be told.
Have thy desire.
Beware! Look to thyself! Thou hast a traitor in thy presence there!
Villain, I'll make thee safe.
Stay thy revengeful hand, thou hast no cause to fear.
Open the door, secure, foolhardy king! Shall I from up speak treason to thy grace? Open the door, or I will break it open!
What is the matter, uncle? Speak. Recover breath. Tell us how near is danger that we may arm us to encounter it.
Peruse this writing here, and thou shalt know the treason that my haste forbids me show.
Remember as thou readst thy promise past. Do not read my name there. I repent me. My hand is not confederate with my heart.
It was, villain, ere thy hand did set it down. I tore it from the traitor's bosom, king. Fear, not love, begets his penitence. Forget to pity him, lest thy pity prove a serpent that shall sting thee to the heart.
Oh, heinous, strong, and bold conspiracy. A loyal father to a treacherous son. Thy overflow of good converts to bad. But thy abundant goodness shall excuse this deadly blot in thy digressing son.
So shall my virtue be his vice's bawd, and he shall spend mine honor with his shame, as thriftless sons there, scraping father's gold. Mine honor lives when his dishonor dies. All my shamed life in his dishonor lies. Thou killedst me in his life, giving him breath. The traitor lives, and the true man's put to death.
What shrill-voiced suppliant makes this eager cry? Our scene is altered from a serious thing and now changed to the beggar and the king. My dangerous cousin, let your mother in. I know she's come to pray for your foul sin.
If thou do pardon whosoever pray, more sins for this forgiveness prosper may. This festered joint cut off, the rest sound. This let alone will all the rest confound.
Oh, King, believe not this hard-hearted man. Love loving not itself, none other can.
Thou frantic woman, what dost thou make here? Shall thy old dugs once more a traitor rear?
Sweet York, be patient. Hear me, gentle liege.
Rise up, good aunt.
Not yet, I thee beseech. Forever will I walk upon my knees and never see day that the happy sees till thou give joy. Until thou bid me joy by pardoning Rutland, my transgressing boy.
Under my mother's prayers I bend my knee.
Against them both my true joints bended be. Ill mayest thou thrive if thou grant any grace.
Please he in earnest. Look upon his face. His eyes do drop no tears. His prayers are in jest. His words come from his mouth, ours from our breast. He prays but faintly and would be denied. We pray with heart and soul and all beside. His weary joints would gladly rise, I know. Our knees shall kneel till to the ground they grow. His prayers are full of false hypocrisy, ours of true zeal and deep integrity. Our prayers do outpray his. Then let them have that mercy which true prayer ought to have.
Good aunt, stand up.
Nay, do not say stand up. Say pardon first, and afterwards stand up. And if I were thy nurse, thy tongue to teach, pardon should be the first word of thy speech. I never longed to hear a word till now. Say pardon, King. Let pity teach thee how. The word is short, yet not so short as sweet. No word like pardon for kings' mouths so meet.
Speak it in French, King. Say pardonnez-moi.
Dost thou teach pardon, pardon to destroy? Oh, my sour husband, my hard-hearted lord that sets the word itself against the word. Speak pardon as 'tis current in our land. The chopping French we do not understand. Thine eye begins to speak. Set thy tongue there, or in thy piteous heart plant thou thine ear, that hearing how our plaints and prayers do pierce, pity may move thee pardon to rehearse.
Good aunt, stand up.
I do not sue to stand. Pardon is all the suit I have in hand.
I pardon him as God shall pardon me.
Oh, happy vantage of a kneeling knee. Yet am I sick for fear. Speak it again. Twice saying pardon doth not pardon twain, but makes one pardon strong.
With all my heart, I pardon him.
A god on earth thou art.
But for our trusty brother-in-law and the abbot, with all the rest of that consorted crew, destruction straight shall dog them at the heels. Good uncle, help to order several powers to Oxford, or where'er these traitors are. They shall not live within this world, I swear, but I will have them, if I once know where. Uncle, farewell. Cousin, adieu. Your mother well hath prayed, and prove you true.
Come, my old son, I pray God make thee new.
Didst thou not mark the king? What words he spake? Have I no friend will rid me of this living fear? Was it not so?
These were his very words.
Have I no friend, quoth he. He spake it twice and urged it twice together, did he not?
He did.
And speaking it, he wistfully looked on me. as who should say, I would thou wert the man that would divorce this terror from my heart. Meaning the king in Pomfret. Come, let's go. I am the king's friend, and will rid his foe.
I have been studying how I may compare this prison where I live unto the world. And for because the world is populous, and here is not a creature but myself, I cannot do it. Yet I'll hammer it out. My brain I'll prove the female to my soul the father. And these two beget a generation of still breeding thoughts. And these same thoughts people this little world in humors, like the people of this world. And no thought is contented. The better sort, as thoughts of things divine, are intermixed with scruples, and to set the word itself against the word. As thus, come, little ones, and then again, it is as hard to come as for a camel to thread the postern of a small needle's eye. Thoughts tending to ambition, they do plot unlikely wonders, how these vain, weak nails may tear a passage through the flinty ribs of this hard world, my ragged prison walls. And for they cannot die in their own pride. Thoughts tending to content flatter themselves. And they are not the first of fortune's slaves, nor shall not be the last. And in this thought they find a kind of ease, bearing their own misfortune on the backs of such as have before endured the like. Thus play I, in one person, many people, and none contented. Sometimes am I king, then treasons make me wish myself a beggar. And so I am. Then crushing penury persuades me I was better when a king, then am I king again. And by think I am unkinged by Bolingbroke, and straight am nothing. But whate'er I be, nor I nor any man that but man is, with nothing shall be pleased till he be eased with being nothing. Music do I hear? Keep time. How sour sweet music is when time is broken, no proportion kept. So it is in the music of men's lives. And here have I the daintiness of ear to check time broke in a disordered string, but for the concord of my state, and time had not an ear to hear my true time broke. I wasted time, and now doth time waste me. For now hath time made me his numbering clock. My thoughts are minutes, and with sighs they jar their watches on unto mine eyes, the outward watch whereto my finger like a dial's point is pointing still and cleansing them from tears. Now, sir, the sound that tells what hour it is are clamorous groans which strike upon my heart, which is of hell. So sighs and tears and groans show minutes, times, and hours. But my time runs posting on in Bolingbroke's proud joy, whilst I stand fooling here as Jack at the clock. This music mads me, let it sound no more. For though it hath helped madmen to their wits, in me it seems it will make wise men mad. And yet, blessing on his heart that gives it me, for 'tis a sign of love. And love to Richard is a strange brooch in this all-hating world.
Hail, royal prince.
Thanks, noble peer. The cheapest of us is 10 groats too dear. What art thou? How comest thou hither when no man never comes but that sad dog that brings me food to make misfortune live?
I was a poor groom of thy stable, king, when thou wert king, who traveling towards York with much ado at length have gotten leave to look upon my sometimes royal master's face. Oh, how it earned my heart when I beheld in London streets that coronation day, when Bolingbroke rode on roan Barbary, that horse that thou so often hast bestrid, that horse that I so carefully have dressed.
Rode he on Barbary? Tell me, gentle friend, how went he under him?
So proudly as if he disdained the ground.
So proud that Bolingbroke was on his back. That jade hath eat bread from my royal hand. This hand hath made him proud with clapping him. Would he not stumble? Would he not fall down, since pride must have a fall, and break the neck of that proud man that usurped his back? Forgiveness, horse. Why do I rail on thee? Since thou, created to be awed by man, wast born to bear. I was not made a horse, and yet I bear a burden like an ass, spurred, galled, and tired by chancing Bolingbroke. If thou loved me, 'tis time thou wert away.
But my tongue dares not, that my heart shall say.
My lord, would it please you to fall to?
Taste of it first, as thou art wont to do.
My lord, I dare not. Sir Pierce of Exton, who hath lately come from the king, commands the contrary.
The devil take Henry of Lancaster. And thee! Patience is stale! And I hold me help! What means death in this rude assault? The king's own land. Mount, my soul, thy seat is up on high. Whilst my gross flesh sinks downward here to die.
As full of valor as of royal blood. Both have I spilt. Oh, would this deed were good. For now the devil that told me I did well says that this deed is chronicled in hell. This dead king to the living king I'll bear. Take hence the rest.
and give them burial here.
Kind Uncle York, the latest news we hear is that the rebels have consumed with fire our town of Ciceter in Gloucestershire. But whether they be ta'en or slain, we hear not. Welcome, my lord. What is the news?
First, to thy sacred state wish I all happiness. The next news is, I have to London sent the heads of Oxford, Salisbury, Blunt, and Kent. The manner of their taking may appear at large discoursed in this paper here.
We thank thee, gentle Percy, for thy pains, and to thy worth will add right worthy gains.
My lord, I have from Oxford sent to London the heads of Brockus and Sir Bennet Seeley, two of the dangerous consorted traitors that sought at Oxford thy dire overthrow.
Thy pains, Lord Willoughby, shall not be forgot. Right noble is thy merit, well I wot.
The grand conspirator, Abbot of Westminster, with clog of conscience and sour melancholy, hath yielded up his body to the grave. But here is Carlisle, living, to abide thy kingly doom and sentence of his pride.
Carlisle, this is your doom. Choose out some secret place, some reverend room, more than thou hast, and with it joy thy life. So as thou livest in peace, die free from strife. For though mine enemy thou hast ever been, high sparks of honor in thee have I seen.
Great King, within this coffin I present thy buried fear. Herein, all breathless, lies the mightiest of thy greatest enemies, Richard of Bordeaux, by me hither brought.
Exton, I thank thee not, for thou hast wrought a deed of slander with thy fatal hand upon my head and all this famous land.
From your own mouth, my lord, did I this deed.
They love not poison that do poison need, nor do I thee, though I did wish him dead. I hate the murderer, love him murdered. The guilt of conscience take thee for thy labor, but neither my good word nor princely favor. With Cain, go wander through the shades of night, and never show thy head by day nor light. Lords, I protest, my soul is full of woe, that blood should sprinkle me to make me grow. Come, mourn with me for what I do lament, and put on sullen black incontinent. I'll make a voyage to the Holy Land to wash this blood off from my guilty hand. March sadly after, grace my mournings here, in weeping after this untimely bier.